Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Greg. Greg Said It channel. Just a few days away, well, a couple days away for the big game, Oregon versus CU. We playing up in Oregon. Well, it's 3:30. I think it's ABC this week. And man, there's a lot of hype. I'm gonna be honest, it's really giving me that feeling of that TCU game. They back underdogs. It's a spread of 21 points. And everybody's talking big. It shouldn't be a surprise for you all who follow this channel, and hopefully you've been following or went back and seen, what was predicted for this season. As I predicted, it's going to be 3-0 going into Oregon. We don't really do a lot of score predictions and things like that because football is football, sports is sports, right? I think you really get into almost like a gambling mindset. But what I would say, I said 3-0 going into Oregon, and I used the word upset. I don't know why I used it. CU didn't really have a ranking. I knew Oregon would have a ranking. They wasn't ranked, what is like number 11 right now? And CU is ranked number 19, all right? So both in the top 20. And I said upset. And I think it's really ringing it home now because they're back to those crazy odds where they're like, you only have like a few percent of winning potential. And the disrespect just won't go away because you think about it, they're both undefeated. CU has played some pretty decent talent. Everybody's knocking TCU like, hey, they're not good. But they only wasn't good because they lost to CU, right? But CU has been ranked for the last couple of weeks. TCU has not lost any other games since. And like I said, I don't think they are going to lose other games because I believe they're talented. I believe they have good size. The quarterback's decent. Of course, it's not Shador. That's not the standard. I mean, he is the standard, but everybody's not going to be that guy. Everybody's not that guy in the NFL. Everybody's not Brady. Everybody's not Peyton Manning. Everybody's not that in the NFL. That's what makes you great. And Shador is a great quarterback. He's proven great at the college level. And the only reason people haven't accepted that is because they were too busy hating on him and his dad and say he have to prove it, which that's a given. But the tone and just the over emphasis on it, you didn't really believe, like you said. You didn't believe. And now people are coming around talking about it and saying he's top quarterback and seeing what he's able to do at the end of the games. That is almost like an insult when they say Shador won the games. Don't most great quarterbacks like a Brady, if the game on the line, he's going to come get you like he did the Falcons in the Super Bowl. And that was a questionable game to me, but that's the Brady legend, right? And that's what Shador has shown. So how you make that a negative when the team can always count on their quarterback to bring them back? All the games were close. Well, there were no fluff games either. There was no FCS games. So if anybody have something to prove, it's the teams that played the FCS games and blew them out and struggled with those Power 5 teams like Texas Tech. Oregon struggled with Texas Tech. I watched that game. And it was a couple penalties and questionable calls or whatever at the end that Texas Tech really could have won. And I wanted Oregon to win because I wanted them to be undefeated because I knew CU would be undefeated. And I wanted them to beat as many ranked teams as possible. The higher, the better. Unlike a hater, I wasn't hating on Oregon because I wanted this situation. Because if they win, it should put them right at the top 10. Because you can no longer deny it. I mean, they're undefeated. You can try to weigh it how you want, but they will have beaten 2 top 20 ranked teams already in their first 4 games. And my prediction was that they were going to upset Oregon. I didn't know what that storyline looked like, but we see how it's developed. And they would come into USC at home with all the Heisman talk and playoff talk even starting to show up. It was almost like prophetic. We're going to see how it plays out. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to go through all the data and statistics because I don't think that's what we ever really been about. But what I can say, and what I have always done, is the predictions of how the game pretty much can go about. The reason why I say it's a lot like the TCU game is because of the fact that it's going to be a new team. It's going to be like the first game where they didn't really know what was coming. because the team's been shaken up with Travis Hunter, and because of the fact that some players were predicted and projected to come back this week anyway. It's going to be a lot of newness. It's going to be a lot of new looks on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a lot of, we talked about emerging players. It's going to be even more, probably double, triple emerging players. Like, where do these people come from? It's like, when you play a real game like this, you want to have a game plan in place for certain players, but it's going to be hard to do that. And with the type of players that are coming back, they are the type of players that you would want to have a game plan for. They're dynamic. They were dynamic where they came from. They may have been injured, and they're all kind of coming back at one time, and it's going to create a game plan nightmare. Kind of like the shock TCU went into. Like, whoa, we didn't know they were that good. Who's this guy? Who's this Dylan Edwards? Who's this? We didn't know Shedeur was like this. We didn't know Travis Hunter was going to play both sides of the ball like this. Who is Jim Hunter? All these people came on the scene. I can see it for this game. I can see the type of guys, they're hungry. It's like releasing the dogs. They're hungry. They've been watching their team play, and they want to contribute, and they have ambitions. A lot of these guys want to go to the next level, and they were contributors at the other schools. For all the people say you're getting the leftovers, people like Travis J. It's like he was like an admired person at Florida State. I mean, he played cornerback, safety, whatever. This guy came in as a top recruit out of North Florida. He played quarterback. He played everything. He's just all over the field, and that's what he did in college, and that's what he's going to expect to be. This guy is listed like as a safety, a cornerback, a nickel back, or what they call a star, and he's aggressive. He has good size, and he has that kind of what they call that Florida confidence. He kind of got that bounce like a Travis Hunter, but a little more bounce, like a more aggressive. That's the energy he brings. He has that refusal to quit, refusal to lose type energy. And he's coming back this week. And just his presence, he could probably intimidate a lot of people. And he has that drive. He's been waiting his time. We also see a couple other people. A guy named Vito Ward, he's been playing special teams. These are people in the secondary, right? We have, who else? Demore Kennedy at linebacker, fast guy from Alabama. He even played running back at Alabama. He's a linebacker. He's been kind of slowly coming back in through special teams. Him being on that field is going to be hard to run sideline to sideline against him because he's just as fast as anybody come out that backfield. He's like 4'3" guy at linebacker, right? He's coming back. Gant, another one of the key linebackers. I think he was on the watch list, senior watch list. He's coming back as a linebacker. That linebacker core is going to look totally different this week for the people. Oh, they don't tackle. You're right. But it's also going to make everybody more competitive. Secondary has people coming back, like I said, in the safety and corner position. Before we said that we lack depth. It's plenty of depth. It's probably the most depth on the team. But what we're saying is the depth is coming back. So the players you need, if you need to make some adjustments, you have the players to do it. But these guys who are coming back haven't played yet. They're going to be hungry for theirs. And they have a potential to shake some things up. They have a potential to say, who is that? Miller. He's another secondary member, number 31. He's been playing. He's been playing decent. And I think he's a freshman. It's a couple people. It's gonna be interesting. Let's say that. Some of those D-line adjustments. See, this is what people fail to realize. The excuse they use to make Colorado lose, it's like because you're too busy moving the goalposts and hating on them. You're living it out. It's just living it out with wins. All these little spots of misalignment and just, the lack of, I guess, camaraderie or unity or whatever. You said the team had to gel. That's what you've been watching. But your hopefulness of them losing make you say they just can't compete. They're not good enough. But that's really what's been going on. They just been doing it with W's. Their coaches are still figuring out their players. They're still figuring out, what adjustments to make and who works best together. So what we're looking at is they're going to be figuring that thing out. They had a few games to figure it out. They're figuring out who works well together, who's what. And that's going to be the difference in these coming weeks. You think you've seen everything, but this team is still really developing. Their pieces of their puzzles is finally coming in. We look at Alton McCaskill. He's coming back this week. That big running back that has a little slight skill set, speed, size, vision. He's bringing some extra, I don't know, pizzazz to that running back room. We have some receivers you haven't quite seen yet. They're younger. Everything's going to be by committee. Everybody's going to get their shot. But it creates because of the talent level and because of the hunger behind it, I see that as a problem for Oregon. It's unfair. It's like TCU. It's like you unleashed them on there. If we could have prepared for this and gave a little more respect to this, we might would have came a little different. It's too late. And I see that same type of energy with Oregon. You focus on Travis not being there. You focus on, they lost to CSU. That CSU was the worst thing for Oregon and the best thing for CU. Because you back underestimating the team you don't really need to underestimate. You're undermining their skill set. But look what you did to that little school. And it was a lot of flukiness going on. And they still won. And they dominated when they needed. But it was a lot of mistakes they made because they're still gelling as a team. That's what I see. That's what I see with a sober mind. That's what I see clear. It's a lot of foolishness, from a mindset of football. People swear they know more because they're not a fan and you're a fan. My vision is way more clear than yours because I actually see them for who they are. You see them through eyes of jealousy, hate, and hope Coach Prime lose, or last year, or you mad because they have bandwagoners. I know the team. I've seen Oregon. And it's like people continue to give respect to the team against CU because they really want them to lose. That's what happened to TCU. TCU is good, but they made them a superhero team that couldn't be beat, and it happened. They didn't talk about the weaknesses. I did. I told them the quarterback's not good enough, and that's the issue this week. Bo Nix he's better, but he's still not better than Shedeur. And that's a fact from his career. So we have to really, really look at this thing with a clear mind that it's going to be hard to go toe-to-toe with Shedeur. The only thing Oregon can bank on is a lot of mistakes. And that's what you're really saying when you say, look what they did last week and this is what they did the other weeks. Those were mistakes, not talent. You don't really want to see them pull this thing together. When they pull this thing together, it's going to be an issue because you're measuring them off of mistakes. You're measuring them off of growing pains. You better be happy that's who you're facing. Because with the coaching that they have and the talent that they have, they could really run the table. And they can run the table because there's the level of their good players and how higher they are over the other team's good players, like a Shedeur. It's rare you find a quarterback like that. And if you put him in any good situation, and it boils down to me versus you, our best guys versus your best guys, that's a problem. You better bank on the fact that they ain't got it all together or that they're still trying to figure it out. You better hope that's the case. But the reason why that's hard to hope for is because those guys coming off the bench, they got something to play for. And the people that they're coming behind is going to push them because they don't want to lose their positions. Nobody wants to come here for nothing. Nobody wants to not get what they came here to get. They came here not only to win. A lot of them, these older guys came here to go to the next level. And they know that these scouts are here. And he lets them know, this is your opportunity. This is it. Some people play for championships. Some people play for, the big moment. But these guys are playing for their life. And when somebody play for their life, you keep telling them the time is now, the opportunity is now. You may not get no other opportunity. Don't blow it. That's a different kind of guy. That's a different kind of hunger. And that's what CU is living on. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the attitude. Keep an eye on the energy. Keep an eye on the way these guys play this week. We're going to see a different kind of game. All this lethargicness, I don't think you're going to see that this week. It's just going to be different. But again, Greg said it. Like, subscribe, comment. Hit that bell. And I'll see you guys soon.